Never forget to train your mind. In life, a lot of us work our ass off, trying to get to a better place, a place that makes us feel better about ourselves. Some people want to do ultra races. They're starting to PR during training. Some people want to be a lawyer or a medical student, so they're taking these practice tests, and they're crushing the practice tests. But guess what happens? Once you get to the actual event, your mind isn't ready. Your mind's not prepared. You've been studying, you've been training, you've been working out, but your mind's not prepared. Story for you. When I was 19 years old, I was going through the Air Force trying to be a pararescueman. I was doing push-ups, sit-ups, swimming. I was doing all this shit, knocking out of the park. One of the best in the class. But the second an obstacle got in my way, I wasn't prepared for it mentally. I was a beast. All I was doing was I was training a bigger, stronger, faster quitter. You gotta train your mind for all obstacles that might get in your way. Stay hard.
When the world tells you to stop, David Goggins tells himself to keep going. He's the man who has redefined mental toughness, broken boundaries, and inspired millions to face their fears and conquer their limitations. This is the story of the man who lives by a single mantra: stay hard.
You know what? I grew up not that guy. They see me now as the guy that with his shirt off who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point.
David Goggins, a name synonymous with grit and perseverance. But his story begins far from the glory of endurance races and Navy SEAL accomplishments. Born on February 17, 1975 in Buffalo, New York, Goggins grew up in an environment filled with adversity. His childhood was marked by poverty, racism, and abuse. At just 6 years old, David witnessed the cruelty of life firsthand, working long hours at his father's skating rink and enduring an abusive household. These early struggles planted the seeds of resilience, though the journey would be anything but easy.
My dad beat the shit out of me when I was growing up. My dad owned skating rinks, he owned bars, he ran prostitutes from Canada to Buffalo, New York. My dad was a big-time pimp, big-time hustler. Anything bad about a person, he was that kind of guy. Beat the shit out of me, beat the shit out, out of my mom. There was an incident one time when my mom got knocked out on top of the stairs and he dragged her down the stairs by her hair. In my mind, I was always afraid. My whole life I was afraid, but I had this fucking voice, this conscience that would always be battling me, saying, hey, you gotta get up and do something. I didn't want to do shit. And I have a big time learning disability because my dad didn't believe in us going to school. So when I went to school, my learning disability, I had social anxiety. I was just a jacked up kid from living in this tortured home. So all the insecurities I had when I was a kid with my father, it just got worse and worse and worse. And the shit haunted me. And that voice that I talked about, it kept talking louder and louder and louder, but I was doing nothing about it. From the age of 19 to the age of 22, I gained 125 pounds. I went from 175 to almost 300. 297 was my heaviest. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. Because that voice I was telling you about, it always was there. I was just trying to avoid that conscience. I wanted to be left alone from that conscience, and it wouldn't leave me alone.
That turning point came when David was in his early 20s. At over 300 pounds and stuck in a dead-end job, he decided to join the US Navy SEALs. But there was one massive obstacle: he wasn't physically or mentally prepared. To even qualify for SEAL training, Goggins had to lose over 100 pounds in just 3 months. Through sheer willpower, sleepless nights, and relentless training, he achieved the impossible and earned his spot at Basic Underwater Demolition/SEAL Training, or BUDS. Hell Week, a grueling 5.5 days of non-stop physical and mental torment. Most trainees drop out, but not Goggins. In fact, he completed Hell Week not once, but 3 times due to injuries and setbacks. It was there that he learned the true power of the human mind. After his military career, Goggins turned his attention to the world of ultra-endurance sports. Competing in over 60 ultramarathons, triathlons, and ultra-triathlons, he quickly became known as one of the toughest athletes in the world. He conquered races like the Badwater 135, often called the world's most brutal foot race, where temperatures soar past 120 degrees Fahrenheit. But Goggins' achievements don't stop there. In 2013, he broke the Guinness World Record for most pull-ups in 24 hours, completing 4,030, a feat that required relentless preparation and mental fortitude. When you think you're done, you're only at 40%. Your mind will quit long before your body does. You've got to learn to push past that voice that tells you to stop.
I wanted to be left alone from that conscience, and it wouldn't leave me alone. What changed, I watched this Discovery Channel show, Class 224.
Class 224.
You get treated like the absolute lowest form on earth, and you really got to find it within yourself to say, you know I can do it, I know I can finish it, I know I can do anything they throw at me. That's where it builds character. You find out if you got it in yourself.
I watched the show, and it made me reflect big time on the piece of shit that I am, and I'm exactly what people said I was going to be. I was watching these guys going through Hell Week.
Hell Week, the most dreaded week of Bud's. It's the ultimate test of one's physical and mental motivation. A round-the-clock regimen of intensive physical training and harassment, with as little as 4 hours of sleep during the entire week.
And these guys are ringing the bell, quitting, dropping their helmet down, rolling out. A lot of guys just leaving. And it made me reflect on my fears, my insecurities. And I saw real men, what I thought were real men, who were staying, who were overcoming adversity, who were overcoming all these different things that I had blamed so many fucking people in my life, my dad, my mom for not being there, my learning disability, my skin color. And so I sat there for a while and I was like, no one's gonna fucking come to help me. No one's gonna fucking come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. I had to man up. And I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have. So I started calling recruiters up. I said, I'm gonna go be a fucking Navy SEAL. There's a weight and height limit to get in the military. And I was 6'1" and 297. And I called this guy named Steven Salgio, recruiter, up. And he said, hey, come on in. He saw me, put me through the weight standard, all this other stuff. And to get into the class I had to get into, I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. So I was like, fuck that, I can't do that. I grabbed my chocolate milkshake and went back to Ecolab, where he sprayed for cockroaches. I'm going back to work, man. This is my life. I don't like cockroaches too much. I hit the mother load of cockroaches. And I sat there and said, this is my life. This ain't gonna be it for me. So I quit my job, got back in my Ecolab truck, and I went home. So my first run, when I decided to lose the weight, I was, like I said, 297. I was about 32% body fat. My idea was to run 4 miles for my first run. I didn't know how bad it's gonna fucking hurt me. I used to run before I was fat, and I was like, fuck it, I can do this. I ran a 1/4 mile and walked home. I walked home and sat on my couch and cried. I said, man, I can't fucking do this shit. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And my mind just kept fucking with me. And kept fucking, you're not good enough, man. This isn't for you, man. These guys are the baddest motherfuckers on the planet Earth. You're not that.
How do you move forward?
What it was, and it's kind of funny, I was obsessed with Rocky. And I would fast forward with the little VHS tapes to round 14. Round 14 fucked me up like nobody's business.
Hard left and the right combination. What is keeping him up, Bill? I don't know.
When Apollo Creed beat the fucking shit out of Rocky, beat the shit out of him, he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter, couldn't read, couldn't write. That was me. He was in that corner and everybody was saying, stay the fuck down.
Down, down, stay down. Apollo dancing around with his arms in the air.
And him getting up, Apollo Creed raised his arms up in the fucking air, turned around, thought he won the fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up, and it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. The face of Apollo Creed. It was like, just by that motherfucker getting up, not winning, just by him getting the fuck up, Rocky had taken his soul. Had literally taken his soul. His head goes down, he looks at him like, what the fuck are you? I wanted to be that. I wanted to be the guy that people looked at. I don't care if you liked me or didn't like, I don't care. But it said, this motherfucker is gonna keep coming after whatever the fuck is in front of him. I wanted that. I wanted that. I wanted that worse than anything in the world. I kept picturing me falling down and getting up. I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. I say what if a lot. It sounds corny and it sounds weak, but it's true. What story would it be if my fucking fat, dumb, insecure ass can overcome this shit? What if I can be a SEAL, man? How would that feel? To go from this fat, insecure motherfucker to one of the best guys on the planet Earth. This journey is gonna take something that is gonna be incomprehensible to most people. So I would sit on my couch saying, who at 297, who can't fucking swim that great, who's scared of the fucking water, would have the fucking balls? Who had the balls to fucking man up, quit a job, and to put everything on himself? So it's how I started talking to myself and putting myself in a whole different category, and that would fuel me the next day, and I just kept using that as fuel and fuel. No one would do this shit. No one would do this shit. You're the baddest motherfucker around. You're the baddest motherfucker ever lived. I just kept fueling me with the right kind of message that I needed to hear that I was never telling myself. So it became from being defeated to like, man, all right, motherfucker, maybe tomorrow we can go 0.75. But I started realizing I can't run that far. So what I did was I became damn near a professional cyclist with the miles I put on the bike. I rode a bike a lot to lose the first initial kind of weight because my bones were just hurting so bad. My body